Evening, everyone. Day 37. Today's a bit of a down day, and it's really hard to put into words. We're in the run-up to Easter, so the kids are sort of like going completely mad. They found the hidden stash of chocolate eggs, so there's now one of each missing. I need to step up my hiding places. Cat's meowing. Today there's just a couple of bits that have really got to me. Someone mentioned earlier about my Tourette's. For those of you who don't know, I have Tourette's. I mean, you probably have figured that out. If you know me for more than 10 minutes, I have probably told you. It's, like being a vegan, but an actual condition and actually worth talking about. Where was I? Tangent. Yeah, so Tourette's always affects you. I've been diagnosed with it for coming up for 30 years now, and I still don't have control over it. If you ask me to explain it, if you've smoked, you feel like you need a cigarette, and you have a cigarette, and then that just kind of, you don't need a cigarette for a bit. But then after a while, you'll start to get tense and think you want another cigarette. And if you don't get one, you get a bit tetchy and a bit angry. And then you have one and you calm down again. Tourette's is the same. You have a twitch, and then it calms down for a bit. But then you feel like you want to have a twitch again. And just like with smoking, if you get stressed, you do it more. But unlike smoking, it's not because it's an addictive drug. You can't just give it up. It's actually the inverse. Not having a drug in your system is what causes the twitches to happen. So you can't just stop having twitches. And if you do it for long enough, you won't have any. So I've been stuck with it. I've kept it under control quite well through various different means. For those of you who know the medical side, there's several advancements in drugs, but the medication that I was prescribed originally was called haloperidol. And it's good stuff. I say good stuff. They give it to people in mental hospitals if they're being too rowdy and uncontrollable. And so I had 5 milligrams of that whilst I was at school. 10 milligrams if I had French because I didn't like the teacher and got really stressed. There's several days and weeks that I have no clue of. Apparently I did fall asleep more than once. So yeah, that was an interesting medical choice. I did stop taking them quite a long time ago, and so if I can help it, I'm never going to go back on them. But no, the other medications for Tourette's have been looked at. Everything's sort of like THC and CBD. Yes, I am legally allowed to get hold of medicinal marijuana should I wish to. I haven't, and I probably won't. But other than that, it's just a case of stuff like meditation. Just finding your inner chi and just kind of keeping it calm. And that is what I've done for a very long time. Except strangely, the last month has put a level of stress on me that has meant that nothing has worked anymore. I'm still maintaining control on it, so I am not twitching as much as I could be. This is mild compared to what could be happening. And the twitches can be anything. At the moment, it's this eye thing, which probably means I'm going to get an eye infection. So I've got a bottle of Broline in the fridge already because I know how it's going to go. But it could be anything from, there you go, coughs and vocal twitches that sound like guinea pigs to me, kicking the front of my shoes against the floor, That one happened in school. I ruined so many pairs of shoes. So apologies, Mum. You had to continually buy me shoes. But yeah, but everything like rubbing my hands together and sniffing them, that was a weird one. There's a holiday in France where I did that constantly. If I got anything on my hands, I had to sniff it no matter what it was. I'm so glad I didn't have that when the kids were born. I could have got rotten really quickly. But yeah, so my Tourette's has gone completely batshit crazy. But so that's been kind of worrying me today, and it's just kind of got me down. It's sort of like blatantly out of control. But the other thing that got to me today was how do I describe it? I have 5 senses: touch, listen, look, smell, taste. And when we talk about memories of people, generally we'll use our ears and we'll use our eyes. You know, we'll see photos, we'll have images inside our head, we'll hear a voice or listen to some music. And, you know, your sight and sound are sort of like 2 of the major things that, you know, we use to establish memory. But you forget about the other 3. Now, at the moment, I'm doing quite well at avoiding things like photos that I don't want to see and music that I don't want to listen to, or the voicemail that I haven't answered. But you forget. When Tasha was in hospital, she had this air freshener, not allowed pressurized, you know, aerosols in hospital, because anyone with breathing problems can have some issues. So I hunted around and found sort of like an Airwick Febreze thing that sort of like a pump handle, and it smelled nice. It was sort of, I think it was raspberry mint, and because you're on a ward and there was a lot of old people, there were some very strange smells. So Tasha used to spray this stuff liberally. The staff loved it because it carried and wafted over the nurse's desk, and they quite liked it because obviously they've got to put up with the various smells as well. So I didn't think about it, and today I found it and thought, ooh, I'll just freshen the air. And so I sprayed it. The instant it hit my nose, I knew I was going to have a bad time. The memories that you have just attached to smell are incredible. Everything from, you know, creosote, you know, to this air freshener, to albus oil, eucalyptus, to, you know, the smell of Parma violets, lavender. All of them just evoking different memories. Even if I can't remember what the memory is, I know the feeling associated with it. And sometimes that feeling's good, sometimes it's not so good. But that smell got to me. And it's not even that. I know there's going to be some foods now that I also can't eat anymore. Or at least not yet. There's a couple of blankets of Natasha's that I'm not going to touch, because she liked really ultra soft blankets, and I don't want to touch them. You know, these 5 senses are something that all of us have, and they all just help fill our mind with thoughts, memories, feelings. Even before we can actually have memory, we remember. smells and feelings. So if anybody wants a bottle of air freshener, I've got one going spare. I'll see you tomorrow.